Superman has always been primarily a symbol of hope, but not anymore. In the absolute universe, the Man of Steel has just earned a brutal new title, marking a dramatic shift that takes this version of the hero into much darker territory. I'm Andrew the Geek Master, and in today's video, we're breaking down everything that went down in issue number 5 of Absolute Superman, which wraps up the first arc of this new approach to Superman. There's a playlist with all the videos covering this story that I'll link in the cards and in the comments below. To not miss stories like this one, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and let's get started. The chapter opens on Krypton, 6 years ago. Jor-El, Lara, and Kal-El are fighting a group of shock troopers from the Law League who were sent to kill them. These were the final days of Krypton. It was a violent time, especially for Kal-El's family, who were sentenced to death for their questioning. So they tried to run to a safe place. But the truth was, there was no safe place left on Krypton. Not for the Els, and not for anyone. The planet was cracking in every way imaginable. With the revelation that Krypton was dying, and that the Science League knew about it but kept it hidden, rebellions tore through the Red Lands, massacres ravaged the cities, and all the while, the planet itself was falling apart. The last moments of Krypton were times of true terror. Luckily, the Els managed to escape to the mountains in their ship where friends and neighbors were waiting to evacuate. They wanted to save everyone, but there was no way to create more space without compromising the integrity of the ship. It was a painful moment for them to realize they would be leaving many friends and cousins behind, but deep down, they knew they would save as many as possible. Little Kal-El was filled with rage as he saw his parents' tears, and as he literally watched the world crumble around him, he promised himself that no matter what planet they found, they would treat it better than Krypton at any cost. Now we jump to the present, where everyone at an advanced Peacemaker station in Pakistan is freaking out because Superman is attacking them. Kal-El easily destroys all the defense lines, including a series of war tanks, with nothing but his solar dust cape. For anyone who doesn't remember, in the last issue, Peacemaker Christopher Smith killed 23 innocent people just because they laughed at a frozen man. That's why Superman is invading and destroying this base looking for Smith, but he wasn't there. So Kal-El orders Saul, his AI, to hack into the Lazarus Corporation's database and find him. However, surprisingly, the Lazarus Corporation's cyber defenses are way more advanced than anything on Earth. It looks like alien technology, and Smith's whereabouts are highly encrypted. This makes Superman so furious that he grabs one of the Peacemakers and demands to know where Smith is hiding. The man, terrified, says he doesn't know and begs Superman not to kill him. But what stands out here is Superman's rage. He himself describes this rage as the fury of billions. The power of the sun explodes through his veins until Kal-El realizes what he's doing and lets go of the man. At that point, Saul warns that it's almost through the encryption, but reveals that someone named Brainiac is attempting a counterattack, trying to infiltrate their systems. Then, Saul ends up locating not Smith, but Brainiac himself. He's in a Lazarus facility in Nevada, in a room full of tiny alien cities kept in bottles with people inside them, constantly screaming. Then, Brainiac himself sends a message to Saul, asking to speak with Superman in exchange for Smith's location. However, Superman simply ignores all of this and leaves the area. We then jump back to the past, where we see the Kryptonian refugees boarding the ship that Lara built. The ship can connect with each of them and becomes a sort of individual spacesuit. Everyone was ready to leave except Kal-El, who stayed behind for a moment to say goodbye to the planet. And as he wondered what the new world they were heading to would be like, a rift suddenly opened right beneath him. This was a huge danger because Kal-El hadn't yet connected to the ship, so he didn't have his individual spacesuit. His parents rushed to try to save him, but wouldn't make it in time. Thankfully, Kal-El was saved by his dog, Krypto. Kal-El liked to think that all the other Kryptonians were helping each other, but things didn't go that way. For example, in Kandor, People revolted and tried to board the Science League's ships by force, the same league that denied any problems with the planet, and for months hid the truth from the people while building enough ships to evacuate only the elite of Krypton. Everything could have been so different if the planet's guilds had worked together. Millions of lives could have been saved. But what happened was that not a single ship took off that day. At least not from the cities, because all of them were caught in the planet's destruction. Meanwhile, Lara's ship managed to take off. It's true that everyone inside the ship was crying. Everyone was scared. I mean, Kal-El was strangely confident that they would make it out of there alive. He felt hope. He even smiled as he comforted this blonde little girl who could be Kara, telling her that she didn't need to be afraid because this was the best ship ever, because it was built by her parents. But then, with the speed of a bullet fired by a gun the size of a planet, that hope was completely shattered. Yes, several green rocks from the planet's core collided with the ship, bringing it to destruction. The impact destroyed the ship, and the refugees fell. But fortunately, those special suits were sentient. They created individual capsules or ships around each of them. Each suit had its own AI, and that's when Kal-El met Sol. She would protect him during the space journey, just like each Kryptonian would have their own protection. The problem was that those pieces of green rock kept flying everywhere, and nearly all the Kryptonians were killed. Kal-El even managed to see his dog and his parents, maybe for the last time. And that was the end of Krypton, a planet that lived for 10 billion years, destroyed by parasites who exploited its last resources, turning its interior into nothing but radiation. That was Krypton's legacy. The lesson that no matter the grandeur or majesty, no matter the history or power or science, no matter the depth of love, everything can vanish down to the last particle in an instant. This is when we see the iconic scene of Krypton's destruction, and Kal-El's ship is the only one shown as surviving the explosion. After pulling away from the blast, Kal-El desperately tried to contact someone through the ship's communicators, but unfortunately, no one was left to answer him. Not his father, not his mother, absolutely no one. That's when he realized he had become the last son of Krypton. With Krypton's story finally told, we return to Earth in the present, where Superman lands by the side of a road in Kansas. He tells Sul that he no longer cares about Christopher Smith because he's afraid. Not afraid of the Lazarus Corporation, but afraid of what he might do if he gets his hands on Smith. He promised that this new world would be a better place, not one of violence or revenge. That's why he tells Sul he needs to be alone. And more than that, he needs to be reminded. He needs to remember his home, and that's why he starts walking down the road toward Smallville, the town he's probably been to before. Issue number 5 of Absolute Superman marks the end of the first arc of this new take on the hero, and overall, I really enjoyed most of what was done. The story of Krypton was very well presented, showing a dark planet dominated by tyrants, divided by classes, and the Kryptonians themselves didn't show much love for one another. We had great portrayals not only of Jor-El, but also of Lara, and Lara had her moment to shine without overshadowing or diminishing Jor-El's brilliance. And in the destruction scene, even though only Kal-El was shown, other Kryptonians may have survived, but that will be left for future stories. As for the present-day story, the conclusion wasn't the best. That's because it opened several subplots but didn't close any of them. Lois Lane, the Peacekeepers, the Omega Men, and Brainiac appear, but none of them have significant development. Still, the narrative and script are very well done, even though they don't wrap up any of the points, except for Superman's origin. And I can't forget to praise the artwork, which, in my opinion, is spectacular. Anyway, if you want to see the continuation of this universe, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, give this video a thumbs up if you like the content, and share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure.